Twos, March 7th, 2025. Like, subscribe, share, comment, cause you're beautiful. That's why. So I want to start off by reading Genesis 41, verse 32. And this is after Joseph interprets Pharaoh's dream, right? Where there would be 7 years of prosperity and great harvest, followed by 7 years of famine. And the doubling of Pharaoh's dream means that the thing is fixed by God, and God will shortly bring it about. Okay? The doubling. So if something happens twice in your life, that can mean that God has fixed or set something that is going to come about shortly. And so when we do always have to remember, please forgive me for doing two things at the same time. We do always have to remember that when God says soon, that's what that can mean lots of different things, because what is quick to us may not be quick to God. It could be decades, you know. Anyway, so the Lord had given me, I guess you could say, a vision for my life. I didn't really know what it meant. It was all sort of allegorical, but it would unfold. And as it unfolded, I'm like, okay, I get that. The analogy, I get how that unfolds in this way. And after he did that, I started having things repeat. Things would happen to me twice. And they was usually very close to each other. One that, people can't just say, oh, you're being superstitious, you're making it up. One time I heard a gal tell, we were in line to get food. And like, vegetarians seem to think we care about what they're eating. She said, oh, I'm a vegetarian, but not because I'm of religious reasons or because of animals, like I don't want to hurt the animals. She said it's just that I can't stand the taste or texture of meat, so I don't eat it. I was like, oh, that's interesting, I thought. And so her and I sat down to eat. We were working as extras, and she picked obviously a bunch of non-meat type food and felt like she needed to explain why. I hadn't even really noticed what she put on her plate. Anyway, we sit down, and another gal comes up and asks, can I sit here? We say yes, and the exact same thing happened. She assumed we were looking at her food, which we weren't, and she said, oh yeah, I'm a vegetarian, but it's not for religion or because I feel bad about, people who eat animals or whatever. I just don't like the taste and texture of meat, so I don't eat it. That happened to me literally within minutes, right? I think we had barely started eating our food, sat down to eat our food when she sat down. So it was within minutes. So things like this will happen to me over and over again. And I began to have these too after God gave me this kind of a vision for my life. And so essentially, I think the Lord was just telling me I would live a long, ultimately prosperous life. But prosperity doesn't necessarily mean material, okay? So I just had a two, and I want to share that two with y'all. So with this two, I kind of had two revelations within minutes of each other. One was that I need to start eating small meals. I've known this for a while, but I've always gone back to just eating regularly, which is a full meal that for me usually winds up in me feeling like a stuffed pig. My stomach's hurting, and I'm feeling bloated, and my digestion isn't going well because the meals that I tend to eat are going to be smaller than probably what you would think a dude would want to eat. But I can eat more meals during the day, but I just never disciplined myself to do that. And it just dawned on me after yesterday, like I ate a big meal, right? And my stomach was hurting. You need to eat a small meal. And as far as you getting the full meal, like to me, every meal has to have vegetables, fruit, meat. And so, you know, maybe something sweet to eat, maybe a roll with butter, And so it was like you can eat half of that during one meal, and then you can eat the other half during the other meal, and you're still going to get the nutrition, and your stomach's not going to feel like this. See how my stomach pops out? I have to keep it sucked in because I read in a magazine, a fitness magazine, that if you just keep it sucked in just slightly, that'll prevent your stomach from getting bigger and bigger for dudes because the inner stomach muscles, not the ones that you see on the outside, will flex and get longer and longer, and you can wind up looking like a dude that's pregnant, right? So that became a burden for me because I was eating so much food, I couldn't even hardly suck my stomach in an inch. So I was able to though because the Lord helped me to just not overeat, y'all. And I'm telling you, I am so grateful that He didn't. I am so grateful that or that He did. I'm so grateful that the Lord did not allow me to overeat. And so now I'm gonna have another small meal. And I'm hoping that I'll follow through with that. And then the second realization I have is that I need to start learning shorthand. So I began to learn Century 21 shorthand maybe 15, 20 years ago and began to develop some fluency. But I stopped learning it, or I did not like reach the max. And today I actually found out why, praise God. Um, the max speed on it because oh my gosh, why? Because because even though I definitely was able to write faster in Century 21 shorthand than I was just in cursive, longhand cursive, it still takes up the same amount of space. So I wound up having stacks of paper where I was journaling. Well, first of all, stacks from all the practicing I was doing, and then from the journaling that that I was doing. And at this time I was living in an SRO, which is just like a little. At that time, somehow this was legal in California. You had to use communal restrooms, and the only thing you had in your room was a little sink. So, anyway, um, I just didn't have space for that, so I just stopped practicing. Ultimately, I want to write books, and I don't want to try to write them longhand. And I kind of maxed out with typing at about 50 words a minute, which is pretty slow. And so I kind of gave up the idea of doing that, of typing them out, even on a computer. Um, my habits for typing are really bad, and then my fingers start hurting pretty quickly. So I think I kind of blew the opportunity to ever become like some of these people can type 100 words a minute. Not me. Like I barely can break 50. So, but what I found out was that Century 21 shorthand is not the fastest. People max out. I can't say people max out, but people can get to like 100, 120 words a minute, which is fast. But I don't want to be able to. I want to be able to do faster. And the fastest clocked person for shorthand was using something called Pitman shorthand. And so I said, let me go ahead and start learning Pitman. So that was the second revelation. I need to start learning shorthand. And I don't know if I'll follow through on either of these. I hope that I do because both would be a blessing. I'm so sick and tired of my stomach being sore like it's always been. Like every time I eat, my stomach's sore. And this is going to help create just a better life for me. Like with it being a TI, you don't need to do stuff that's going to make your life worse, even if just for the lack of discipline. I know that one small bowl like this, maybe half full, is gonna get me filled without me feeling like, oh my God, I'm about to pop. And so I just praise God, you guys. I praise God, and hopefully I'll follow through. The fastest person clocked with Pitman shorthand was 350 words a minute, you guys. And that apparently is the world's record. And the person I guess there's competitions. There's like shorthand competitions, but the fastest person clocked was doing Pittman. So my intention is to do Pittman. There's three different there's three different, they call them dialects of Pittman shorthand, and I don't know which one I'm going to be learning. There's a full course on YouTube where a guy teaches you Pittman shorthand, so I'm just going to do that. But from what I've seen, having Googled this, it appears that all three forms are pretty similarly fast. So hopefully I'll follow through with this and pay you guys. I just want to reiterate: pay your tithes and offerings. Pay your tithes and offerings. Get to know the Lord. Pray 2 hours and 24 minutes a day every day. That's 10% of your day. That is you tithing your time to the Lord. And tithe your money to the Lord by helping the least of his people. Jesus said, I was hungry and you did not feed me. I was thirsty and you did not give me to drink. I was alone. I was naked and you did not clothe me. I was a stranger and alone and a stranger. You did not invite me into your home. So I was homeless and I was homeless and you did not shelter me. I was in prison and in the hospital. You did not visit me and you did not minister to me. So that's what you do with your tithes and money, is you help these folks. And if you do, you will begin to know the Lord the way the Lord is allowing me to get to know him and experience his supernatural power on my behalf, rendering this program little more than a pathetic joke for me, just like he does. Well, for you, excuse me, just like he does for me. I send out my love to all y'all beautiful born again TIs. God bless.